face down in a drainage ravine, body already stiff, pack still strapped to his shoulders. The county coroner will later write exposure and dehydration on the report, which is technical language for he died cold, thirsty, and alone, doing everything wrong. But here's the part that makes you stop breathing for a second when you roll him over. His pack is pristine, expensive, the kind of gear that costs more than most people's monthly rent. You inventory it because that's protocol. Tactical knife with glass breaker pommel and seatbelt cutter still in its Kydex sheath, never drawn. Solar USB charger clipped to the outside phone in his pocket is dead anyway, and even if it wasn't, there's no signal out here. Paracord survival bracelet on his wrist, still woven, never deployed. Tactical pen in his chest pocket, full of ink, unused. One of those credit card multi-tools in his wallet with the little saw edge and bottle opener still mint condition. A $400 tactical watch on his wrist. Screen cracked, battery dead, stuck on the wrong time zone. Fire starting toolkit in a waterproof case unopened. He had $3,000 worth of survival gear. And he died of problems a $15 lighter and a $50 tarp would have solved. This is what I'm talking about. This is the thing that makes me so angry I can barely keep my voice level. The survival industry didn't give this man tools. They gave him a costume. They sold him an identity. Tactical, prepared, dangerous, capable. They sold him the feeling of being a survivor without any of the actual capability. And when reality came for him, when the temperature dropped and the wind picked up and his core temp started sliding toward the danger zone, all that expensive gear did exactly what it was designed to do. It looked impressive. It felt substantial in his hands. And it failed completely. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. Tactical gear isn't designed to save your life. It's designed to sell, to look good in photos, to make you feel like you're ready without requiring you to actually be ready. The survival industry has become a fashion industry with a body count. So let me show you exactly how they're doing it. 7 categories of overhyped, overpriced garbage that will fail when you need them most. Not because I'm guessing, not because I'm speculating, but because physics, chemistry, materials science, and human psychology don't care about marketing copy. I'm going to show you the specific, mechanical reasons these tools fail, the real-world scenarios where they collapse, and what actually works, the boring, ugly, unglamorous truth that might keep you alive. Let's start with a piece of gear that fails in the one condition you'll actually need it. *** gadget Heishon, survival watches, ***. The advertisement shows a chiseled forearm, matte black watch catching the light just right. 15 functions, built-in compass, GPS, altimeter, barometer, thermometer, heart rate monitor, solar charging panel, paracord band with fire starter buckle, emergency whistle, military-grade construction. The fantasy is seductive. Your wrist becomes a survival command center. One device that does everything. You'll never be caught unprepared because every tool you need is strapped to your body, always accessible, always ready. Here's what actually happens. You're 4 days into an unplanned survival situation. Let's say you got separated from your group. Weather moved in faster than predicted. Now you're alone trying to navigate back to the trailhead. Your $400 tactical watch, the one with 17 functions and a 5-star rating, is completely dead. Not low battery. Dead. Black screen, unresponsive buttons. A brick of plastic and circuits strapped to your wrist. Why? Because every single one of those electronic functions requires power. That solar panel on the face? Sounds great in theory. In reality, it's a tiny photovoltaic cell that needs direct, strong sunlight for hours to generate any meaningful charge. But you're in a survival situation, which means you're probably dealing with heavy cloud cover, rain, forest canopy, or all three. That solar panel is generating approximately nothing, and even if you had full sun, cold temperatures murder battery capacity. Lithium-ion batteries, the kind in your watch, lose 20% or more of their capacity below freezing. You're cold, the watch is cold, the battery is dying faster than the solar panel can charge it even in perfect conditions. So the GPS dies first because it's a power hog. Then the altimeter, the heart rate monitor, the backlight. Within 2 to 5 days maximum, you've got a dead screen and a wrist full of useless electronics. But let's say the battery was fine. Let's say you kept it charged. The sensors are still garbage. That built-in compass, it's a magnetic sensor, which sounds technical and impressive until you realize it drifts. It's affected by nearby metal, including the watch components themselves, and any electrical interference turns it into a spinning roulette wheel. The altimeter and barometer require constant calibration. And pressure changes from weather systems give you false altitude readings. You think you're at 8,000 feet, you're actually at 9,500. And that matters when you're trying to navigate to a specific saddle in a ridge. The thermometer reads your wrist temperature plus the heat generated by the watch electronics, which means it's consistently 10 to 20 degrees off. Completely useless. The touchscreen, because of course it has a touchscreen, cracks the first time you drop it on a rock while setting up shelter. Now you have a dead display and no way to access any functions, even if they worked. The waterproof rating fails because seals degrade, buttons leak, moisture gets inside, and even if everything stayed dry and charged and functional, you're cognitively overloaded. 15 functions means 15 menus, 15 button combinations, 15 different operational modes. When you're hypothermic, exhausted, and panicking, you can't remember how to switch from GPS mode to compass mode. Complexity becomes catastrophic. Oh, and that paracord band with the fire starter buckle? To access the cord, you have to disassemble your watch, so now you have no watch, no compass, no GPS, no altimeter, no anything, and you have 10 feet of paracord, which isn't enough for most tasks anyway. Congratulations, you just destroyed your multi-$100 device to get less cord than you should have been carrying in your pack to begin with. Here's what actually works, and you're going to hate how boring it is. A mechanical watch. Automatic or hand-wound. No battery, no electronics, no sensors. It tells time. That's it. Works in any temperature. Works wet. Works after you drop it. If it stops, you wind it, it starts again. And if you need to find direction, you can use the hour hand and the sun point the hour hand at the sun. Halfway between the hour hand and 12 o'clock is south in the northern hemisphere. It's a technique that's older than electronics and still works perfectly. Separate dedicated tools do everything else better. A $15 liquid-filled baseplate compass with no batteries, no calibration drift, works forever. A real altimeter or a smartphone app if your phone is charged. A $5 analog thermometer. 50 feet of actual paracord in your pack, not trapped inside a bracelet. One tool, one function, maximum reliability. Redundancy through separate systems, not one super gadget that fails everywhere simultaneously. The survival watch industry has convinced you that efficiency means cramming everything into one device. But in reality, that's just creating a single point of total failure. When your watch needs charging, it's not a survival tool. It's a liability with a strap. *** gadget. #2 Tactical pens ***. Aircraft-grade aluminum, glass breaker tip, self-defense weapon, DNA collector grooves, flashlight in some models, writes underwater, TSA compliant kind of. The fantasy is intoxicating. You're James Bond with a pen in your pocket, always armed, always ready, hiding in plain sight. The grey man with a lethal secret. Let's talk about what happens when you try to actually use this thing. You're in a parking lot. Someone's approaching with bad intentions. You fumble for the tactical pen in your pocket, your tactical cargo pants pocket, which is deep and cluttered with keys and a wallet and other junk. By the time you get it out, he's already on you. You stab wildly, hit his shoulder. The pen punches through his jacket, maybe breaks skin. He doesn't even slow down. You know why? Because stabbing someone in the arm or torso with a pen doesn't stop them. It hurts, sure, but pain doesn't disable. You need to hit incredibly specific targets, eyes, throat, joints, to actually neutralize an attacker with a pen-sized weapon. And here's the problem. You're experiencing an adrenaline dump, tunnel vision, loss of fine motor control, your hands are shaking, your visual field has narrowed to the center of the threat. You cannot execute the kind of precision targeting required to make a tactical pen effective. You're not going to hit someone's eye with a pen while they're trying to beat you. You're going to flail, miss, and get hurt. Even if you land a hit, even if you somehow manage to hurt them, you've now escalated to lethal force with an ineffective tool. Legally, you're in a nightmare. If you use it, you're admitting it's a weapon, which means premeditation. If you try to claim self-defense, the prosecutor is going to ask why you were carrying a weapon disguised as a pen, if not to use it with intent. You just created a legal problem on top of a physical one. And the glass breaker tip, completely worthless. Tempered autoglass is designed to resist impact. Yes, a pointed tip helps, but you need massive force, correct angle, and multiple strikes. In a real emergency, car sinking, fire spreading, you're panicking, and underwater, you do not have the leverage or strength or time to break a window with a pen. A $10 spring-loaded center punch does it automatically, one-handed, every time. The tactical pen fails. It's also a terrible pen. It weighs 4 to 6 ounces versus half an ounce for a normal pen. It's bulky. The ink cartridge is a standard cheap refill that you could get in any pen. The Wright's underwater feature is a gimmick. When do you actually need this? And an $8 Fisher Space Pen does it better, lighter, smaller. TSA compliance is a lie in practice. Technically allowed, yes, but TSA agents have discretion, and if it looks like a weapon, they'll confiscate it. Now you're arguing at security, missing your flight, all to keep a pen that doesn't work as a weapon anyway. Here's what actually works for self-defense: pepper spray, which is legal in most places and effective at range. A real flashlight 4 or more D-cell maglite, which doubles as an impact weapon and is completely legal. Keys between your fingers, which you always have on you. Or, best of all, awareness and avoidance, which beats any weapon. And if you're serious about self-defense, get actual training. Basic boxing or grappling is infinitely more effective than pen stabbing. For breaking glass, spring-loaded center punch. For writing, a normal pen that costs $1. The Tacticool pen exists because it lets buyers feel dangerous without the commitment of actual training or real weapons. It's a $20 fantasy, and if you're training for pen-based combat, you've already lost the fight. *** gadget #3. Survival cards ***. Credit card sized. Fits in your wallet. 11 tools in one. Saw blade, knife edge, fire starter, compass, magnifying glass, ruler, bottle opener, screwdrivers, arrowhead, fish hooks, always with you. MacGyver in your pocket. The marketing writes itself. Here's the part where physics ruins everything. To cut something, anything you need force applied over distance. You need leverage. You need a handle to grip. A credit card multi-tool has none of these things. The knife edge is 2 inches long, barely sharp, and has no handle. When you try to cut paracord, the card slips in your fingers and slices your hand. The saw blade has tiny teeth and no leverage. To saw through a 1-inch branch, you need a long stroke, pressure, and grip. With a card saw, you get 45 minutes of bloody fingers and a branch that's still mostly intact. The fire starter is a joke. It's a tiny ferro rod striker, maybe 1 square centimeter of surface area. To throw good sparks, you need force and correct angle, but the card flexes when you apply force, so you can't generate the pressure needed. You get weak sparks that won't light anything. A real ferro rod is 1/2 inch in diameter, 4 inches long, with a rigid handle. It creates a shower of sparks you can actually see and use. The card version is a party trick. The compass is a tiny button, 5 to 10 millimeters in diameter. The needle sticks, air bubbles form, it loses magnetism. There's no rotating bezel, no sighting mechanism, no declination adjustment. You cannot navigate with this. It's decorative. The card itself is thin stainless steel, which means it bends under stress. The knife edge dulls immediately because thin stock creates terrible edge geometry. It rusts despite being stainless because the coating scratches off. And here's the absurd part. It sits in your wallet. When do you actually need survival tools? Outdoors, in an emergency. Where's your wallet? Probably not immediately accessible. You're going to dig through your wallet in a crisis? While you're cold and your fingers are numb and you're trying to build a shelter? Let me show you what happens in reality. You need to cut paracord to tie down a tarp. You pull out the card. You try to cut the cord. It frays but doesn't cut cleanly. The card slips and slices your finger. Now you're bleeding. You still need to cut the cord and you end up biting through it, which is what you should have done in the first place. The card goes back in your wallet, blood-stained and useless, where it will remain forever. What actually works? A real knife. A small fixed blade with a 4-inch blade and full tang, or a quality folding knife with a locking blade. Weight, 4 to 8 ounces. Cost, $30 to $100. It actually cuts things. A real ferro rod, 1/2 inch by 4 inches minimum, creates 15,000 plus strikes of functional sparks. A real baseplate compass with rotating bezel and sighting mirror that actually finds north. If a tool can fit in your wallet, it cannot do real work. That's not opinion, that's physics. Work equals force times distance. Tiny tool equals tiny force. Tiny distance, zero work. A credit card multi-tool is perfect for exactly one survival scenario. None of them. *** gadget. #4. Tactical flashlights ***. 5,000 lumens, 10,000 lumens, numbers that sound like military ordnance. The marketing promises you a portable sun, blinds attackers, strobe mode to disorient enemies, zoom function, strike bezel for self-defense, rechargeable battery, used by military and police. Turn night into day. Here's what those numbers actually mean. Your battery is about to die. A 3000 lumen flashlight running on a 18650 battery gives you maybe 2 to 5 minutes at maximum output before thermal protection kicks in and dims it automatically. Even at reduced output, you're looking at 30 to 90 minutes of runtime. In a real survival situation where you need to ration light across multiple days, an ultra-bright light is a battery death sentence. You get one night of careless use, and then you're holding a dead brick. But it gets worse. LEDs generate massive heat at high power. Cheap tactical lights have inadequate heat sinking, so they overheat in minutes and auto-dim to protect the circuitry. Your brightest flashlight in the world becomes a dim flashlight immediately, and you have no control over it, and the brightness itself blinds you. In outdoor environments with any moisture in the air, fog, rain, snow, an ultra-bright light reflects back at you and creates a white wall you cannot see through. You just blinded yourself. Plus, it destroys your night vision. Your eyes take 20 to 30 minutes to fully adapt to darkness. One blast of 5000 lumens resets you to zero. Now you can't see anything without the light, which is dying rapidly. You've created a dependency loop that ends with you standing in total darkness. The blind and attacker feature is a myth. In daylight, it's useless. In low light, it might cause momentary disorientation, but that lasts 2 to 5 seconds maximum, and it requires you to aim at their face while they're moving. Then they're just angry and attacking, and you've given away your position with a giant light beacon visible for miles. The zoom function adds moving parts, which means more failure points. O-rings wear out. Water gets in, the mechanism jams, and the strike bezel, the serrated edge meant for self-defense, is fantasy. You're swinging a 6-inch tube at a moving target with no leverage and no stopping power. If your grip slips, the serrations cut your own hand. A real baton is longer, heavier, and designed for impact. A tactical flashlight is designed to sell. Here's the real-world scenario. You're moving through woods at night. You turn on your 5000 lumen light. The beam reflects off moisture in the air, and you're staring into a white wall. You can't see the trail. You turn it off to let your eyes adjust. Now you're standing in total darkness, vulnerable, waiting. The light dies after 40 minutes because you kept using maximum mode to try to see through the fog. Now you're lost in the dark with a dead brick and no night vision. What actually works? A moderate output light, 200 to 500 lumens. That's sufficient for navigation, camp tasks, and signaling. Runtime is 4 to 8 hours on medium, 20 plus on low. It doesn't blind you in fog or rain. It preserves your night vision on lower modes. Better yet, use a headlamp so your hands are free, with red light mode to preserve night vision. Modern LEDs give you 200 plus lumens with 30 plus hours of runtime. And use replaceable batteries, not rechargeable. Rechargeable is convenient at home. In the field, a dead battery is a dead light with no way to recharge. Replaceable AA or AAA batteries let you carry spares and swap instantly. They're standardized, you can scavenge them from other devices if needed. Instead of one 3000 lumen monster, carry two 300 lumen lights. Redundancy. Longer total runtime. If one fails, you still have light. The brightest light in the world is useless when it's dead in your hand and you're standing in the dark. Asterisk gadget. #5. Tactical tomahawks ***. Spike on the back for breaching. Hammer pole. Throwing capability. Pry notch in the blade. Paracord wrapped handle. Ferro rod hidden in the pommel. Molly compatible sheath. The marketing shows you a Viking warrior crossed with a tactical operator. One tool. Weapon, chopper, hammer, breacher. Looks incredible on Instagram. Cannot process firewood to save your life. The head geometry is wrong. It's thin profile because that looks aggressive, and it's lightweight 1 to 2 pounds versus 2.5 to 3.5 pounds for a real axe. Physics doesn't care about aesthetics. Force equals mass times acceleration. A light head produces weak chops that bounce off wood. You're taking 3 times longer to process firewood compared to a real axe, which means 3 times the calories burned, 3 times the exhaustion. In survival, wasted energy equals death. The handle is fragile. That paracord wrap looks cool and does absolutely nothing for structural support. In fact, it hides cracks in the wood. It absorbs moisture, which causes rot. The handle is either too short for proper leverage or too long for detail work, and compound curved tactical handles give you weird grip angles and blisters. The spike on the back is useless. You're not breaching walls with a 2-pound axe. You're not fighting armored knights. In a real scenario, the spike adds weight, reduces chopping efficiency, and catches on brush, wood, and your own gear. It's dangerous to you. And throwing? Never throw your survival tool. Competition axe throwers spend thousands of hours practicing in controlled environments. In a crisis, you just threw away your tool. If you miss, you're unarmed. If you hit, your tool is stuck 20 feet away. This is a more ninja fantasy, not survival protocol. The ferro rod hidden in the handle requires you to unscrew the pommel and remove it. So now you're trying to light a fire while juggling an axe, a ferro rod, and tinder. A ferro rod should be on a lanyard, separate, instantly accessible. Hiding it in your handle is a gimmick that makes fire starting harder. Here's what happens in reality. You need to process firewood because you're cold, wet, at risk for hypothermia. You pull out your tactical tomahawk. You swing at a 4-inch diameter branch. The blade bounces and barely cuts. You swing again, and again. 10 minutes later, you've processed one branch and your arms are exhausted. You're sweating, which means you're now wet, which accelerates hypothermia. You need 20 more branches for a fire sufficient to dry out and warm up. You're going to freeze. What actually works? A real axe with a 2.5 to 3.5 pound head, 24 to 28 inch handle, and proper geometry, thick cheeks, 25 to 30 degree edge angle. It splits and chops efficiently. Or, for a backpack, a quality hatchet with a 1.5 pound head and a 14 to 16 inch handle. Examples: Estwing, Fiskars, Husqvarna, boring brands, proven tools. Don't carry an axe for self-defense. It's slow, telegraphed, easy to counter. If you're attacked, use a knife, a firearm, or run. For breaching, use a Halligan bar if you're actually breaching. Or don't plan to breach things in a survival scenario. Separate tools for separate functions. Hatchet for wood, knife for detail work, hammer or the back of the hatchet for pounding. If your axe has a name like Zombie Apocalypse Tactical Breacher, it's a toy, not a tool. *** gadget, #6. Paracord survival bracelets, **, 10 to 15 feet of 550 paracord, built-in compass, fire starter, whistle, always on your wrist, unravel in an emergency, fashion plus function, better than nothing. It's worse than nothing because it tricks you into thinking you're prepared. 10 feet of cord is not enough. One guy line for a tarp, maybe. Bundling firewood poorly. A single snare if you know how. Real survival tasks require 50 to 100 plus feet. A ridgeline and guy lines for a shelter, 40 plus feet. Bear bag hang, 50 plus feet. Clothesline, 20 feet. Gear repair, 5 to 10 feet. Emergency rappel, 100 feet minimum. The bracelet gives you 10 feet, which is insufficient for almost everything. And to use the cord, you have to unravel the bracelet. Now it's not a bracelet anymore, it's a loose pile of cord. You can't reweave it in the field, that takes 15 plus minutes and requires focus you don't have in a crisis. The always on you advantage is gone the moment you use it. The built-in tools are garbage. The compass is the same tiny, inaccurate button from the survival card. The ferro rod striker is too small to generate leverage or good sparks. The whistle works, but a cheap whistle on the neck lanyard is louder and always accessible without destroying your bracelet. Wearing it is uncomfortable. It's bulky, 1 inch wide, ½ inch thick. It catches on branches, gear, doorways. Your wrist sweats and the cord gets disgusting. If it's tight, it restricts circulation. If it's loose, it falls off. And the paracord itself is usually garbage. Most bracelets use cheap cord with fewer inner strands, 5 instead of 7, and lower breaking strength, 300 pounds instead of 550. The nylon degrades in UV from constant sun exposure on your wrist. By the time you actually need it, it's weakened and unreliable. Here's the real-world scenario. You need to rig a tarp shelter because it's raining. You unravel your bracelet and get 10 feet of cord. Not enough for all 4 corners plus the ridgeline. You rig the shelter with inadequate cordage. Wind picks up. The shelter collapses. You're wet, cold, and demoralized. Meanwhile, a 100-foot hank of mil-spec 550 cord weighs 6 ounces and costs $8. What actually works? Actual paracord in your pack. 50 to 100 feet minimum. Mil-spec 550. Verified. Stored in a hank-wrapped figure-8 style or in a stuff sack to prevent tangling. Or use number 36 tarred nylon bankline, which is thinner, lighter, more length per ounce, pre-treated for weather resistance and not integrity. 300 plus feet weighs 8 ounces. Separate tools, real baseplate compass, real ferro rod with handle, whistle on a neck lanyard that's always accessible and louder than a bracelet whistle. Don't sacrifice function for fashion. Wearable gear is compromised gear. Carry tools properly. Paracord bracelets are survival bumper stickers. They tell everyone you're prepared without actually preparing you for anything. Asterisk asterisk gadget #7. All-in-one survival shovels asterisk asterisk. 23 functions: shovel blade, saw edge, axe edge, hammer, bottle opener, hex wrench cutouts, fire starter, compass in the handle, whistle, glass breaker, fishing hooks in the case, folding handle, the ultimate multi-tool. One device does everything. Maximum efficiency. It can't dig. The primary function, the thing it's named after, fails. The blade is too small, 6 by 8 inches versus 9 by 12 for a real shovel. That means you're moving 1/3 the volume per scoop, so you do 3 times the work for the same hole. The handle is too short, 18 to 24 inches folding, versus 48 for a real shovel, so you have no leverage and you're forced to bend over. Back pain. Exhaustion. The folding joint is the failure point. It locks with a pin or clamp, but under stress it bends, breaks, or folds unexpectedly. You're mid-dig, the handle collapses, and the blade hits your shin. Now you're injured and the shovel is broken. The saw edge on the side of the shovel blade is worthless. To saw, you have to hold the shovel awkwardly. The blade is too thick for cutting. The teeth dull immediately from hitting dirt and rocks. It takes 20 minutes to saw through a 2-inch branch. The axe edge is dangerous. It's just a sharpened corner of the shovel with no proper axe geometry, wrong bevel angle, no cheek thickness. It bounces off wood. When you swing a shovel, as an axe, it's unbalanced and awkward. The blade can rotate mid-swing and hit you. Every added feature is a failure point. Compass in the handle breaks. Fishing hooks rust and tangle. Bottle opener, who cares in a survival situation? Hex wrenches are the wrong sizes for your gear. Fire starter has the same problems as every other built-in fire starter. The weight penalty. All-in-one shovel weighs 2 to 3 pounds. A quality folding shovel that just digs weighs 1.5 pounds. You've spent extra weight on broken features instead of functional tools. And the materials are cheap. Usually aluminum, which is soft and bends, or pot metal, which is brittle and breaks. A real shovel has a steel blade and fiberglass or wood handle. After 10 uses, your all-in-one shovel has a bent blade, a loose handle, and broken tools. Here's what happens. You need to dig a cathol latrine, 8 inches deep. You pull out the all-in-one shovel, you assemble it, unfold, lock the pin. You start digging. The small blade means many scoops. The short handle means you're bent over, back hurting. You hit a root and need to cut it. You try the saw edge. It doesn't cut dull, wrong geometry. You try the axe edge. You swing awkwardly. The blade bounces. 45 minutes later, you have a 6-inch deep hole. You're exhausted, your back is screaming, and you still need to use the latrine. You squat uncomfortably over an inadequate hole. What actually works? A real folding shovel with a steel blade, solid locking mechanism, and a 24 to 28-inch handle when extended. It does one thing well, digs. Examples: Cold Steel Special Forces shovel, Gerber E-tool. For sawing, carry a folding saw Silky or Barco 8 to 10-inch blade with aggressive teeth that cuts branches in seconds, weight 4 to 6 ounces. For chopping, carry a hatchet or axe, as previously discussed. Separate tools: shovel 1.5 pounds, saw 0.3 pounds, hatchet 1.5 pounds. Total 3.3 pounds for 3 functional tools. All-in-one shovel 2.5 pounds for 3 broken tools. A 23-in-1 tool is really a 23-in-0. It does nothing well, but fails in 23 different ways. Asterisk. Asterisk. The pattern. Tactical marketing. Terminal failure. Asterisk. Asterisk. Let's step back and look at what all 7 of these gadgets have in common, because this isn't about individual products. This is about a business model that profits from your death. They all look capable. Aggressive styling, technical appearance, complexity that suggests sophistication. They all feel capable when you hold them heavy, metal, substantial. They all signal identity. I'm prepared, I'm tactical, I'm dangerous. And they all fail completely when tested under actual stress. The psychological con works like this. You want to be ready. That's a legitimate desire. The survival industry responds by selling you the feeling of readiness without the substance. You buy the gear, you feel prepared. But feeling ready is not the same as being ready. The outcome is false confidence, which increases your risk. You're more likely to put yourself in dangerous situations because you believe your gear will save you. Complexity sells because more features create the perception of higher value. A 23-in-1 tool sounds better than a 1-in-1 tool, but every feature is a failure point. Every additional function is another thing that can break. Simple tools are boring, but boring tools are reliable. The tactical markup is pure profit. Take any tool, make it black, add aggressive styling, slap tactical on the label, and charge 300% more. A $15 flashlight becomes a $50 tactical flashlight. Same components, same function, different marketing. Instagram prepping accelerates this. Gear is displayed as lifestyle and identity. Photos of equipment laid out on a table, never used. Likes and comments provide social validation, but social proof is not survival proof. The gear that photographs well is rarely the gear that works well. And there's a testing gap. Buyers purchase and never stress test. They don't take this gear into real conditions, cold, wet, fatigue, stress, and discover how it fails. By the time they learn the gear doesn't work, it's too late. They're in a crisis and the equipment is collapsing around them. The industry doesn't want you to survive. They want you to buy. If you survive, you stop shopping. If you fail, you buy the upgraded version, the replacement, the better model. Churn equals profit. Your death is an externality they don't have to account for. Asterisk, asterisk, the survivor's toolkit. What actually works? Asterisk, asterisk. One tool, one function. Maximum reliability. Redundancy through separate systems, not one super gadget. Time-tested designs over latest innovations. If your grandfather used it and it worked, it probably still works. For time and navigation, mechanical watch, automatic or hand-wound. Baseplate compass, liquid-filled, no batteries. Paper topographic maps. For light, 200 to 300 lumen headlamp with replaceable AA or AAA batteries. Backup small, AA flashlight. Backup to the backup. Candles, chemical light sticks. For fire, ferro rod, 1/2 inch by 4 inches, rigid handle. Backup, 2 to 3 BIC lighters. Backup to the backup, waterproof matches. Tinder, dryer lint, petroleum jelly, cotton balls. For cutting, fixed blade knife, 4 to 5 inches, full tang. Backup, quality folding knife. Hatchet with 1.5 pound head or folding saw with 8 to 10 inch blade. For digging, folding shovel, steel blade, solid lock. For cordage, 50 to 100 feet of mil-spec 550 paracord or 200 to 300 feet of number 36 tarred bankline. For shelter, 8 by 10 or 10 by 10 tarp, heavy duty, natural color, plastic sheeting, painter's plastic, 4 mil thickness. For water, 32-ounce stainless steel bottle, single wall. Water filter soya squeeze or Catadin or purification tablets. Backup, ability to boil in a pot or cup. For self-defense, pepper spray if legal, firearm if trained and legal, or situational awareness and avoidance. Total weight, 15 to 20 pounds. Total cost, $300 to $500. Reliability, proven over decades, some over centuries. Asterisk, asterisk, the choice. Instagram or survival. Asterisk, asterisk. 2 paths. Path A. You buy every gadget marketed to you. Your gear looks impressive on camera. You feel prepared. In a real crisis, batteries die, tools break, complexity overwhelms you. You die with $3,000 of useless equipment. Path B. You buy simple, proven tools. Your gear looks like your grandfather's. You know exactly how each tool works because you've practiced. In a crisis, the tools work, there are no surprises, muscle memory takes over, you survive. Real survival is boring. Nobody gets Instagram famous with a $15 compass and a BIC lighter. But those tools work when the $400 GPS watch is a dead brick on your wrist. Financial reality, tactical loadout, costs $2,000 to $5,000. Functional loadout costs $300 to $500. That's $1,500 to $4,500 saved for food storage, training, land, skills, things that actually increase your capability. Here's what you do right now. Audit your gear. Pull out every tactical gadget you own. Ask yourself, can I use this in the dark, with numb fingers, under stress, when I'm exhausted and scared? If the answer is no, sell it. Use that money to buy boring gear. Buy simple, time-tested designs. Read reviews from actual users, not influencers with affiliate links. Test everything. Take a weekend camping trip with only the gear you'd carry in a real emergency. No car backup, no resupply. When tools fail, and they will note it, replace them. Train with your tools. Owning a ferro rod is not the same as being able to use it. Practice fire starting in wet conditions, wind, cold. Practice shelter building with your tarp. Learn knots. Skill beats gear every single time. Asterisk, asterisk, the $3,000 lesson. Asterisk, asterisk, back to the body in the wilderness. $3,000 of gear, all of it failed. He believed the marketing. He thought he was prepared. The marketing killed him, not the cold. His epitaph should read, he had everything and nothing. He had. This is what happens when you confuse shopping with preparation. Every gadget you're carrying that doesn't work is a brick pulling you toward the same fate. You can laugh at these gadgets, dismiss them as ridiculous, and keep scrolling. Or you can throw them out, replace them with tools that work, and actually prepare. One is entertainment, the other is survival. When you're dying in the woods, your tactical gear won't look good on Instagram, but it will make an expensive casket,